Hello, good evening and welcome to my humble model railway, Bedstead Junction, the home of Paul Cherry trains. Now tonight we're going to do a little video. I'm going to have a little bit of a return actually to the Great Western Railway, and also tonight we're going to be trying out some new gear. What I want to try to experiment with tonight is something called the DJI Mic Mini. Okay, I don't know if we're focused on that, I think we are. Okay, so that's the receiver. Okay. And that's the transmitter. And his little charging dock with the wind muff attached. Okay, so what we're going to be hoping to do is to try out and see if the sound's improved. Now, one area where the sound may improve is where, for example, I'm still talking and I move my head away from facing the camera. So without any further ado, I'm going to connect up the microphone first, and then we'll see how we go. Okay, so I'll be with you in just a few moments. Okay, so we're hoping to see some improvement in quality, so I'm just adjusting my tripod there. Now I've got the this lavalier mic connected up and it's attached to my collar here, so I'm hoping now that we'll get some improvement in quality, especially say for example if I'm chatting away and I reach down for something like this. I'm not talking directly to the camera, okay, and we'll see how we get on with recording sound with this new microphone attached. Now it would be an interesting exercise just to see how we get on. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to stop the video now because I want to play this back and just check that I am in fact getting sound, because this camera don't actually show the sound recording levels, so I don't even know if anything's been recorded sound wise. So just bear with me just one moment. Right, so we're about to see a Hornby Star class get underway, and this is Hornby Lode Star. Now there is a reason why I'm actually showing you Great Western locomotives tonight, and that's in response to a video made by Hilton of Poppershaft Railways, and he decided to try out a Great Western locomotive, and he bought the Helger Night Owl, and he seemed to have had quite a bad time with that locomotive, which made him quite disillusioned. I actually commented back, saying sorry he had such a hard time and everything, and assuring him that there are better models out there representing the Great Western Railway, because I wanted to actually, say for example, do the Great Western Railway justice. Now this example here, going around the track, works well straight out of the box. Parts detached, none. Issues, none. Absolutely a fine looking locomotive. There are some detail compromises with it. Yes, there are. But overall it's a lovely, attractive looking locomotive. Of course, it's designed by George Jackson Churchward. And it was from these locomotives, such as the Saints, the Stars, that the GWR got its family resemblance. Of course, the Castles and the Kings look similar, and the main reason for that was to allow standardisation of parts. One interesting subject is tenders. The Great Western Railway had fewer tenders than locomotives, believe it or not, from what I can gather, and that's because they had lots of locomotives being serviced, and the tenders were spending less time away from the rails. So sometimes you would have seen various tenders on Great Western locomotives, and certainly from what I can gather, parts were interchanged because they were standardised. So you would see an interchangeability of parts on locomotives too. Now let's take a little look at the box for those of you who have not seen one of these before. And now I'm just, this will be a good test of the of this lavalier microphone system, because I've just had to lean away from the camera, and my voice would have got a little bit more faint perhaps. This one here is one of the Railway Museum collections. There's a nice picture of it on the box. Lode Star spelled L-O-D-E. Nice representation of the locomotive from here. And on the back's a history. And a diagram there of the locomotive itself, which was drawn up in 2011. So these Star classes have been around for some considerable time in the Hornby catalogue. And they were developments really of the successful two-cylinder Saint class 460 locomotives. And really the reason why locomotives became increasingly larger and more powerful were because of the demands placed upon the railway services. Longer trains and wanting to attain higher speeds. And of course, on the Great Western Railway, everything's nice and flat and even until you reach the hills in Devon round by Newton Abbot, going towards Torquay and onwards. On some of the hills, certainly in Devon, locomotives would require double heading or even banking. These more powerful locomotives were designed to be able to solve these problems. Okay, so if anybody's watching and got any doubts about Great Western Railway stuff, then I can show you this particular model. Like I say, I'm quite happy with it. It's putting 3 Hornby clerestory coaches. Clerestory because they got upper windows in the roof, and they were also lit by gas. They were designed by Churchward's predecessor, William Dean. So these would have been seen behind Dean Singles. And then the other coaches, which you'll be seeing on the railway quite shortly, will be developments of that when we get to see the Castle class. Now the need for bigger locomotives became a necessity on literally all of the big 4. The Great Western Railway decided to resort to 460s. Other railways like the Midland and the LNER went to Pacifics. Also the Pacifics appeared on the Southern. The only Pacific locomotive which appeared on the Great Western Railway was the Great Bear. Please Hornby, please make one, please. You'll be, my pre-order will go in immediately. Yeah, the only Pacific, like I say, is the Great Bear. From then on in, even the Great Bear was rebuilt as a 460 locomotive. See, beautiful runner this, really nice runner. What don't you get? Well, it's a flickering firebox is probably something which you don't get here. And I don't think you'll get that on the Castles or the Kings either. It's funny because Hornby started to put flickering fireboxes into their locomotives a long time ago, into their tender driven locomotives. In fact, their 8F and the GWR 280 goods engines both had flickering fireboxes, or a representation of them anyway. Now what we're going to do is we're going to watch this locomotive put into the station in just a moment. Some of these stars were rebuilt into castles, like we say. This locomotive was withdrawn in 1951, but eventually became part of the National Collection. It spent time at the Steam Museum of the Great Western Railway at Swindon, and also at the National Railway Museum at York. So I had trouble saying the word railway then. Let's try again. It spent time at the National Railway Museum at York. Now, for those of you who live in the West Country, and those of you who have travelled by rail on the West Country, then you'll know that the railway beyond Bristol, going towards through Somerset, Devon and Cornwall, was known as the Holiday Line. Famous trains like the Cornish Riviera Express, the English Riviera Express, all taking passengers to the seaside. And one of the great thrills of travelling on the Great Western Railway is when the railway actually goes past along the seawall in Devon. And I spent many a happy time at Dawlish watching the trains. Felt I've been sat on the beach and rather than looking out to sea, I've been looking inland towards the trains. I'm not going to do a close-up view of these locomotives tonight, because I have done previous reviews on all these locomotives you'll be seeing tonight. So I would refer you to those previous videos. Sorry about the long pause there, I was just bringing the train to a halt. So let's just bring it into the siding, and then we will have a look at the next locomotive. We'll see how that runs. Before then though, we'll have a look at these two locomotives side by side, and we will have a look at the more fundamental differences. Now I hope I'm sounding okay with this lavalier mic. I'll say one of the omissions of my camera, apparently this is a Canon M50, is that I cannot see what the microphone levels are. So it could be clipping out. Well, it's got anti-clipping device on here apparently, so it shouldn't be clipping, so we should be okay. Right, so in we come. And this is a Star class load star coming in. Lovely, look at that. Now that's lodestar into the station there. And beside it is Caerphilly Castle. So there's lodestar in great white GWR livery. What a lovely sight. Then beyond this is Caerphilly Castle, the first of the castles to be produced. One of many. Similarities. All these Great Western locomotives had their beautiful copper cap chimneys, brass safety valve covers, or they copper or brass, I can't remember. Also your whistles. So you love, really the highlight really for me is the copper cap chimneys. In green, of course. Great Western Railway locomotives should come in green. Now the fundamental differences between the two, well, obviously the Castle is the larger of the two locomotives, and as I've said many times before, now for those of you who've seen me say this before, sorry about the repetition, but the cabs, C cutout here, much smaller cab on a Churchward locomotive, and in fact that seems to have followed on from locomotives like the Dean Singles, similar type cab, the C-type cutout. The Collet cab is larger and it's got a side window here, and then the back area here is where the driver would peer out, or the fireman to spot signals. Both cabs fully glazed as Hornby models. And there was two reasons really for making these more and more powerful locomotives. Like I say, one was the demands placed upon the railway itself, wanting to take longer trains, higher speeds, better performance up hills were wanted, and also the fact that the Great Western Railway was in competition, especially with the Southern. Now we're just going to change tracks round, and then we'll be looking at the performance of the wonderful Caerphilly Castle. Right, so we're just, like I say, changing points, and then we'll bring Caerphilly Castle out. Right, it looks like I've got a need for some new fish plates on this. Let's have another go. I've been replacing fish plates on my railway. It looks like I've got a few more to do. Right, so that seems to be working alright now. It kind of stopped on its way out. Oh, there we are, now it's working fine. Yeah, any problems with my railway, it's usually nothing to do with the locomotives themselves. It's because my railway will be disassembled and then reassembled, and as a result I do tend to suffer from loose fish plates. Right, so let's have a look at Caerphilly Castle. Designed by Charles Benjamin Collett, and at the time of the production of this locomotive, Caerphilly Castle was said to be the most powerful locomotive, at least as far as tractive effort was concerned. Only to be trumped by the Lord Nelson class of the Southern, and of course then the Great Western went on to produce 30 of Mighty King class locomotives. But really, as far as what the standard express locomotive would be designed by Collett, it would be the Castle. Far more numerous. Now Caerphilly Castle, once again, from Hornby. So I don't know if I showed you the end of the box. Let's do it again just in case. So we had our 3864 GWR Star class 460 Lode Star, number 4003. That's a locomotive you saw just a little while ago. Just a recap. And then what we're looking at here tonight, going around the track, is our 30328 GWR Castle class 460 Caerphilly Castle, pardon me, 4073. Again, a lovely representation of it on the box. It's the older style of boxes. And the diagram from this locomotive has been around even longer again. 2010. The description on the back. And again, straight out of the box. Any loose parts? No. Any running issues? No. Absolutely happy. Straight out of the box, no problem whatsoever. So again, this is a wonderful representation of what you can see on the Great Western Railway. Now if you want to see another review of a castle, sorry, A.D. Pullen has just bought Caldecott's Castle and he's done a review of that on his channel. So looking on his channel, you can see a review of Caldecott's Castle. That's part of the Big Four collection. I bought Caerphilly Castle because it's the first of the Castle class. Caldecott Castle, which AD has, his has got the smaller tender. So that's quite an interesting example for you to see. As you see, a perfectly smooth runner, and these are Collett coaches. Now, for those of you who might ask, yes, it's true. These representation of Collett coaches and the Caerphilly coaches are a little bit shorter, prototypically. But for a railway of my size, which is only 6 feet by 4 feet, that in many ways is a blessing. For this to be able to run on a railway my size, a representation of with 3 coaches like this, being slightly prototypically shorter is more of an advantage to me than a disadvantage. Now, the Great Western Railway again, what actually made me fall in love with the Great Western Railway was it began with me being sent out in connection with my job many years ago, and I worked in places like Weston-super-Mare and Taunton, and I went there by train. Also went to Bath by train as well, and as I travel more and more on trains regarding my work, I've become more and more curious, and then it was a programme came out on BBC, I think it was on BBC television, called Seaside Railways. Now, David St John Thomas, or St John Thomas, was the person who presented it, and this particular gentleman Oh, he was born in 1929 and passed away sadly in 18th of August 2014. But it was his presentation of this particular programme about the Seaside Railway that really inspired me to really go all in. And it's from there that I bought my first Great Western locomotives. He was an English publisher and writer who founded the David and Charles Publishing Company. And I think he was based in Newton Abbot. And he described the scene of the summer Saturday changeover, holidays to the seaside. People either arriving to their seaside destinations or people going home. Time of great busyness on the railway. And it resulted in just one locomotive after another thundering along the sea wall. I believe he was presenting that part of the programme from Teignmouth, but really Dawlish and Teignmouth, especially Dawlish to me, that's the place to go if you want a seaside holiday to do with trains. That's the place to go. And fairly recently, I travelled on the Paynton and Dartmouth Steam Railway, and that meant taking a train down to Newton Abbot, Torquay, and then on to Paynton to take the Paynton and Dartmouth Steam Railway. What a fantastic day that was. So anybody who's not done it yet, please give the Paynton and the Dartmouth Steam Railway a try. The Paynton to Dartmouth Steam Railway. Now, sorry if I trip up a little bit in my speaking tonight. It's just I had very little sleep. I spent it might have happened to some of you. We had those big storms last night, and it was certainly blowing against the house and making quite a noise. I think I probably had about 3 hours sleep in the end. So I am struggling just ever so slightly with things. Now Hilton, if you are watching this, yes, there are better examples out there of Great Western Railway locomotives. I'm going to show other representation of the Great Western Railway, but that will be part of another video. Now I'm going to try to improve the reliability of my railway. I've actually bought literally loads of fish plates, and anywhere where any fish plates are in any way looking loose on here, I'm going to actually replace them, because I do occasionally have trouble with getting my locomotives in and out of the sidings into the station. And that's really it's not down to the locomotives, that is loose fish plates and it's poor connectivity. So we will be improving on that. Now if you like what you see, please press that like button, and if you've not subscribed to my channel, it's a free way of being informed about future videos, and if you ring that bell you'll be alerted to future videos on my channel. I'm hoping to make videos a little bit more frequently now. It's been a bit of a busy time socially. I am a member of 2 Skittles teams, and that's been taking up at least 2 nights of the week. And then other things have been cropping up too. But now tonight, this is the first time in quite a while where I've been able to sit down nice and quiet and run my trains. Now I hope I've got an improvement in sound on my recordings here tonight. And on that basis, I should be wishing you farewell and bye bye for now.